Welcome to another Math Ninja Pro video.
In this video, we will learn what the three trigonometric ratios sine, cosine, and tangent are.
You have learned in primary school that a ratio is the comparison of two or more quantities of the same kind. And ratios can be expressed using the ratio symbol or as a fraction. For example, in the rectangle below, if you want to find the ratio of its breadth to its length, you can use the ratio symbol 3:4 or express the ratio as a fraction 3/4. You have also learned that in a right-angled triangle, the longer side opposite the right angle is called the hypotenuse. The other two sides are the opposite side and the adjacent side. But to determine which is which, we will need a reference angle. With reference to the angle theta, the opposite side is here. And with reference to the angle theta, the adjacent side is here. If the reference angle is over here, then the opposite side is here and the adjacent side is here. In a right-angled triangle, the sine ratio is defined as the ratio of the length of the opposite side to the length of the hypotenuse. Since the opposite side can only be determined with reference to an angle, say theta, we use the notation sine theta to represent the sine ratio as a fraction. Do note that the letters sin are the short form for sine. The cosine ratio is defined as the ratio of the length of the adjacent side to the length of the hypotenuse in a right-angled triangle. Since the adjacent side can also only be determined with reference to an angle, say theta, we use the notation cosine theta to represent the cosine ratio as a fraction. Do note that the letters cos are used as a short form for cosine. And the tangent ratio is defined as the ratio of the length of the opposite side to the length of the adjacent side. And again, since the opposite and adjacent sides can only be determined with reference to an angle theta, we use the notation tangent theta to represent tangent as a fraction. Do note that the letters tan are a short form for tangent. Consider this right-angled triangle with reference angle of 30 degrees. If I want to find the ratio sine 30 degrees, I would first need to find the length of the opposite side, O1, and the length of the hypotenuse, H1. Then, sine 30 degrees would be equal to O1 over H1. Now, if I were to make the triangle bigger to something like this, then to find sine 30 degrees, I would need to find what is the opposite side O2 and the hypotenuse H2. And sine 30 degrees would be equal to O2 over H2. Similarly, if I continue extending the triangle and make it even bigger, the opposite side would be O3 and the hypotenuse would be H3, and sine 30 degrees would be equal to O3 over H3. Now, notice that O1 over H1, O2 over H2, and O3 over H3 are all equal because they are ratios of corresponding sides of similar triangles. Using the same set of similar right-angled triangles, cosine 30 degrees would be equal to the ratio of the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. In this case, for the smallest right-angled triangle, it would be A1 over H1. Cosine 30 degrees would also be equal to A2 over H2 and A3 over H3. These are all equal because the triangles are similar and the ratio of the corresponding sides, in this case the adjacent side and the hypotenuse, are equal. The same reasoning would apply for tangent 30 degrees, which is the ratio of the opposite side to the adjacent side. So therefore, O1 over A1 would be equal to O2 over A2, which would also be equal to O3 over A3 because the triangles are similar. In a nutshell, for any right-angled triangle, the tangent ratio is the ratio of the length of the opposite side to the length of the adjacent side. The cosine ratio is the ratio of the length of the adjacent side to the length of the hypotenuse. And the sine ratio is the ratio of the length of the opposite side to the length of the hypotenuse. Do note that these trigonometric ratios apply only to acute angles in right-angled triangles. You can use the mnemonic Tua Ka So to help you remember the three trigonometric ratios, where Tua represents tangent equals to opposite side over adjacent side. Ka represents cosine equals to adjacent side over hypotenuse. And So represents sine equals to opposite over hypotenuse. Remember to like, subscribe, and keep coming back for more ninja level math videos.